Okay, so let's just kind of jump right into this first topic. Dwight Howard, man, I saw I saw on fadeawayworld.net, and shout out to fadeawayworld.net. I see a lot of stuff on there, and helps keep me current. But yeah, you see it right here. Dwight Howard called LeBron James a bitch and got bounced from the Lakers. I'm going to read this article for you guys. I do have some sound for you guys as well. So before we get into the article, I'm going to play the sound for you guys, and you're going to hear for yourself just how this story sort of came about. It sort of just dropped into Dwight Howard's lap. So here you go. Let's hear it, and then we'll react, and we'll read this article as well.
But what did you say?
When we got into it,
All this bitching that we doing, like we gotta stop acting like bitches just play fucking basketball. Like, man, you the best player out here. Stop being a bitch and go play.
I said that, man, and I got kicked off the Lakers. So I know how you feel, nigga.
I got picked for the whole game, bro.
It happened on defense, and I was like, "Yo, you gotta get back." And he got mad because I said something. And I was like, "Yo, stop acting like a bitch, man. God damn."
It's weird though, because I remember hearing like, that's what like kind of messed up the KD and Draymond relationship too.
That situation different because at the end of the game, Draymond, you came down and did something and turned the ball over. Y'all lost the game. Me and Bron's situation was the third quarter. Even though we was down, we still ended up winning that game by 20. So mine was more of a like, bro, come on, man, stop all this.
Like trying to rally niggas together.
Stop all this bitches. Let's just play basketball.
I know what you said, but what?
So just so you know, Dwight Howard, he was sitting down for his podcast with Mario Chalmers, and Mario Chalmers was saying the same thing, like, hey, I had to do this to LeBron. You know, he plays the sound of himself telling the story, and then Dwight Howard is basically commiserating, like, hey, that happened to me too. Like, I'm glad you mentioned that because, I was a LeBron James teammate as well, and I had to tell him the same thing. Like, get back on defense. Stop acting like, a bitch. And their stories are a little bit different because obviously Mario Chalmers was trying to motivate LeBron. And in Dwight Howard's situation, Dwight Howard was just telling him, hey, get back on defense. Like, you're missing defensive assignments. Let's go. LeBron James started, like, basically, who are you talking to kind of thing. But fadeawayworld.net, they get into a pretty they kind of break this down, and so I'm going to read to you this article. We'll start from the top, and here we go. Dwight Howard recently stirred the pot by sharing a story about how an offhand comment to LeBron James landed him in hot water during his time with the Los Angeles Lakers. Speaking candidly on his podcast, Howard revealed that he once called LeBron a bitch during an argument over defensive effort, a remark that he believes led to his eventual exit from the team. I said that, man, and I got kicked off the Lakers. That's the year after we won the championship, man. It happened on defense, and I was like, yo, you got to get back. And he got mad because I said something, and I was like, yo, stop acting like a bitch, man. God damn, all we doing is talking. Howard emphasized that his intentions weren't to disrespect or question LeBron's character, but rather to push the team leader toward a stronger defensive effort. Nonetheless, Howard felt that his comment directly contributed to the Lakers deciding to move on without him. Yet, underlying the laughter was an acknowledgement that challenging James publicly, even with good intentions, comes with significant risk. Fadeaway World, they realize very quickly that this kind of story is a pattern. It's a pattern in LeBron James's career. So the article continues and it says, the story gains further intrigue when placed alongside a similar event involving former Miami Heat guard Mario Chalmers, who famously got into a heated exchange with LeBron during their playing days together. Chalmers once called James a similar derogatory term, frustrated by LeBron's defensive lapses. Interestingly, Howard is not the only one who has had this type of experience with LeBron. Several players have claimed that calling LeBron a bitch is his trigger word, something that instantly gets under his skin. Throughout his career, there have been multiple incidents where James has gotten visibly upset after being called the term. One of the most noticeable moments was in 2016 when Draymond Green called LeBron a bitch during Game 4 of the NBA Finals, leading to a heated confrontation. Green was ultimately suspended for Game 5, which played a crucial role in the Cavaliers coming back from a 3-1 deficit to win the championship. More recently, Houston Rockets head coach Ime Udoka also found himself in a heated exchange with LeBron after calling him the same word. During a game in 2023, Udoka, who was coaching the Rockets at the time, got into a verbal back and forth with James. When Udoka referred to him as a bitch, LeBron immediately snapped back and the two had to be separated. The incident resulted in Udoka being ejected from the game, proving once again that this particular word has a special way of setting James off. The article continues. Green was ultimately suspended for Game 5, which played a crucial role in the Cavaliers coming back from a 3-1 deficit to win the championship. Oh, sorry. This is actually... Oh, whoops. But so basically, the situation with Udoka and all of these examples, it's an antidote, right? These antidotes serve as a stark reminder for current and future NBA players about navigating relationships with superstar teammates. Challenging leadership is necessary, yet there remains a line that when crossed can carry significant career consequences. Howard crossed that line and paid a professional price, ultimately reinforcing LeBron James' powerful presence and unquestioned leadership in today's NBA landscape. Well. How many times is LeBron James going to be called a bitch by a teammate nonetheless? The same thing happened to, Kevin Durant. Obviously, I mean, I wonder why these things happen. Teammates, they have to respect you. And to me, you can't ask anyone on your team to do things that you're unwilling to do yourself. And I think that's where this B word comes into play with LeBron. I think especially as it pertains to getting back on defense. This is a common thing that you hear. LeBron doesn't defend. He's yelling at his teammates to get back on defense, even after he's the one that turned the ball over. He blames them for his turnovers. He's throwing his teammates under the bus on the court, in game, post game. Dwight Howard, I guess he wanted to win. He was high off that championship that he helped the Lakers to win in 2020. They have yet to go back to the finals. Everyone's saying that they needed to add Dwight Howard to their team instead of Alex Len. I mean, Mario Chalmers told LeBron to stop acting like a bitch. Draymond Green told LeBron to stop acting like a bitch. Ime Udoka told LeBron to stop acting like a bitch. And Dwight Howard apparently told LeBron to stop acting like a bitch. So this is a common denominator with LeBron. And I just wonder why do we think that is? Maybe it's because he's literally always crying, moping on the court, stomping, acting like a child, pouting on the bench and on the court. LeBron James has the ability to bring down the entire team. I mean, as does any star player or leader on any team, right? It starts and it sort of ends with them. Accountability starts with the leaders of the team, whether it's the coaches, the superstar, the organization. But we've seen LeBron bring down the team with his behavior. It's awful to watch, honestly. It's not leadership. He walks off the court when the team is getting blown off the floor. He's done this throughout his entire career. And these are just some of the reasons why he might get called a bitch. Just a few. I want to hear from you guys. I want to know what you think about this. I'm going to read some comments. Hey, Funky Town, salute to you. Salute to you, Donovan Baker. Thank you. The Dat 2K. Danny Season, salute. Mr. CT, shout out to you. Eric 313. Yeah, LeBron really, he's just like a fool. I mean, when we hear stories that LeBron is this great teammate, that he makes teammates better, it becomes hard to believe. It almost feels like you're going to be retaliated against if you speak out, if you're vocal on any LeBron-led team, because God forbid you say, hey, why don't you run back on defense too? Then maybe we'll all do it. And what's interesting is that all of a sudden you see LeBron James trying to hold team members accountable to defense and to playing defense. And he's actually trying much harder to defend now under a JJ Redick-led team. And I just think it's so interesting that he refused to defend for for Darvin Ham. And I mean, the defensive effort is still not amazing, but it's much better than it has been in the past few seasons. At 40 years old, he's willing to sit in the chair and defend. Not for Darvin Ham, not when he was in the Western Conference Finals, but now at the tender age of 40. Very interesting. Hey, Speedy, I love you too. Hey, Rasul. Main event. And I am Barnes, that man. They don't have any bigs on the Lakers. Yeah, I mean, Dwight Howard, it's interesting because I think that Dwight Howard got traded because both LeBron and AD didn't like him. So he got into an argument with with Anthony Davis that we saw. I think they were on the bench. It was a heated argument, and it was probably of the similar vein. He was telling Anthony Davis what he felt like he needed to do on the floor. Anthony Davis quite an attitude, and they started arguing. And it's like, you can't tell these superstars anything. And it's like, even for me, like I'm a manager of people, and I want my team to coach me up. If I'm not doing the right thing, tell me. Give me an opportunity to fix it. Give me feedback. I think it's a gift. And I think that when your team can hold you accountable, it sounds so much better coming from them than maybe your boss. I would rather my teammate say, hey, get back on defense. I'd rather hear it from them than hear it from the coach. I'd rather hear it from them than hear it from the media. If I'm LeBron James, if I'm Anthony Davis, and my teammate, a veteran player, Dwight Howard, is like, come on, big dog, get back on defense. We need you out there. And he's saying that to me, and I'm supposed to be a leader on this team. I'm gonna take that. But that's just, that's good leadership. You should be able to hear feedback from people. I mean, they seem to have good communication. When you take a look at this picture, I don't see why they couldn't work it out. They won a title together. But I guess that B word had LeBron in his feelings. I want to read a super chat from Cliff Hill. Thanks so much for supporting Cliff Hill. Really appreciate the $1.99 super chat. East Coast, unfortunately. Have a good show, fam. Thanks so much for being here and stopping by. All right, guys. Why do you think teammates are calling LeBron James a bitch? Why do you think that that word is motivating? Do you really believe that that's motivating for LeBron, or is it that they don't respect him and that's why they're saying it? Call in, talk to me nice. In the meantime, I'll read some comments. I'll read some more comments. La crybaby. That's funny. He needs to take his G-string off for real. You guys are funny. Isidro. Comment of the night. Pat Riley took away his cookies. He may actually be a biatch if that many grown men think so. I mean, that's what I just think, like, if you're the common denominator, then something just feels wrong, you know? Like the Tupac song, Wonder Why They Call You a. Yeah, I mean, I love Tupac. I think that LeBron too got players calling him that word because of him disrespecting the coaches he played under, because to me, he tried to get rid of some of those coaches at those times. Could very well be true. I could see that. LeBron doesn't make his team better at all. Most players kiss LBJ's ass, so it's jarring for him when he gets confronted. Yeah. I mean, I think when you're enabling a player like LeBron for so long, you're used to getting everything that you want. Like you said, people are kissing his ass. He doesn't know how to, he's going to retaliate. So anytime there's feedback, anytime someone's speaking out and being vocal against whether it's his style of play, anything that can be perceived as a slight or could be a potential narrative, he wants to get ahead of that. He's going to retaliate. Ron is a big baby. LeBron is the most insecure superstar ever. I can see that too. I think Howard is gay, that trouble in the locker room, even if you're respectful. Look, I mean, Dwight Howard is controversial in my opinion. He has a lot of different things off the court happening that I think have contributed to his situations on teams as well. So I don't know. I think that those things are definitely used against him as well. T-Bert. Probably any franchise player would get someone traded for that. Yeah, I mean, calling the star player on a team the B word, I think, is tricky, and I don't think that's going to go over very well. Sean the Kid 35 Baldwin, yo, that word would make a man. Sorry, I guess you're trying to say it would make a man like push to play harder by saying that. I don't know. I don't think that that should be a motivator. That kind of language should not motivate someone to play harder. Old school here time of MJ and Kobe. LeBron thinks that he's above reproach. I think he does think that, and what's interesting about LeBron is that he just he's a narcissist. So not only does he think that he's above everybody, but LeBron thinks that he essentially thinks that he has the power to change anything. So no matter what the truth is, it doesn't actually matter, right? Because he's very powerful. So there could be a story that's trending all the way around, but he can convince the media not to talk about it. He can push it way down. He can bury stories. He can bury players. Look at what he was able to do to Quincy Oliveri. Look at what he was able to do to Isaiah Thomas that he played with in, on Cleveland. Think about all of the players that LeBron has been able to bury or their careers have just been like vanished. There's so many examples. All right, guys. I guess if no one's going to call in on this topic, I'll move on. I'll move on to the Kevin Durant topic. And it's interesting. So I decided to talk about Kevin Durant tonight because of the Dwight Howard topic and the fact that, Dwight is out here, he had to call LeBron a bitch too as his teammate. And we saw on the court and we heard in that soundbite, we heard Draymond Green, in the incident that he had with Kevin Durant and how he called him a bitch, right? And that didn't really go over that well with Kevin Durant. He wound up leaving the team, and obviously that played a role. It wasn't everything, but it played a role in his decision to leave the team. Now, I'm not going to specifically talk about that situation, but I just thought I would throw in the Kevin Durant topic just because I felt like it was a good segue. And Kevin Durant, there's just been so much chatter about him this season, and a lot of the stories have been negative. He made a tweet about All-Star. I was in here telling him to shut the hell up. I didn't want to hear anything from him. I've just been over Kevin Durant this season. I found him to be a disgrace.